everyone, I think, knows who I am, Valerie J. Lyons. I'm the Assistant Director of Student Affairs in the Office of Academic and Student Affairs, and I am your administrative advisor. So this session is going to focus on the licensure process for mental health counselors. I have the phone number for the New York State Education Office of the Professions, as well as the website address here, and everyone will receive a copy of this PowerPoint presentation and the link for the recording once it's edited. So here are the licensure requirements, and this is for New York State licensure. First, it's the educational requirement, which is the completion of your master's degree in counseling. Then there's an examination that you must pass, an examination which meets state requirements. The examination is called the National Clinical Mental Health Counseling Examination. There is experience, I'll just say experience, 3,000 supervised hour after completion of degree. I qualify and not say work experience because from what I understand, and this came from Dr. Feitzer, that volunteer unpaid employment is also acceptable for licensure for those who want to accrue extra hours or have trouble finding paid employment. Volunteer work can also count towards licensure. Supervision is still required, and in some cases, off-site supervisors would be needed, and you will also need another limited permit for that additional work site. So although most of you are clearly going to seek paid employment, from what I understand, volunteer experience and non-paid employment can also count towards your hours. I'm not sure if there's it would seem to me that there would be a limited amount of hours that could be volunteer or non-paid. And that is why I gave you the phone number and the website address for the Office of the Professions, because there are some things you might want to check in on, okay? So the 3,000 supervised hours after completion of degree is what is required. Being of good moral character, at least 21 years of age. And then, as you know, the required workshop for mental health counseling students is the child abuse prevention mandated reporter training. Now, if you have not completed that training, or if you do not know how to access that training, please send me an email and I will send you the link to the child abuse prevention mandated reported training. And I will also send you a link to upload your certificate of completion. And when you upload your certificate of completion, it comes to this office. We then update your CUNY First account to reflect that you completed that workshop. So please do that as soon as you possibly can and not wait till the last minute. It's a graduation requirement. And as you can see, it is also a requirement for licensure. Does anyone have any questions before I move on? Okay.
Actually, yeah, quick question. Are limited permits, the 3,000 hours, if they're not volunteer, just like regular, are they normally paid or normally unpaid? Just
okay.
Curiosity.
So I'm going to get to the limited permit, but the limited, let me get to that. Let me address that when I get to that section.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
But let me say this to you. The limited permit is what allows you to work as a mental health counselor under the supervision of a licensed professional. Then you start to count the hours. So the hours, the 3,000 hours that start accumulating, you start accruing those 3,000 hours once you get your limited permit. Your limited permit just says that you have you are in a position to work as a mental health counselor. It's limited. You have, I think, 2 years. I'll go over that shortly, but that you can work as a mental health counselor under the supervision of a licensed professional. That's separate from accruing the 3,000 work hours, or 3,000 supervised hours, I should say. Am I clear?
Okay, yeah, so I would get the limited permit to allow me to begin accruing those hours.
Yes, correct.
Okay,
Correct.
so there are more steps, so
there are
I'll
more
pay
steps.
attention.
We're just at the
Thank
beginning.
you.
Okay, no problem. No, it's good to talk it out too, you know? All right. Any other questions before I move on? Okay. So educational experience, as I mentioned, completing a master's degree in counseling from the program must either be registered by state education department as leading to licensure in mental health counseling, that is Hunter College, or is accredited. The program here is not accredited. However, it is registered by the state education department as leading to licensure in mental health counseling. Oh, forgot my little arrow. So here are the experience requirements. 3,000 hours must be obtained with a limited permit. So you have to have your limited permit. So, okay, you have to have your limited permit, and then you can start accruing your hours. 1,500 hours must be direct contact with clients. Rest of experience may be other activities: record keeping, research, case management, supervision, professional development, etc. So at least 1,500 hours, could be more, says 1,500 hours plus, must be direct contact with clients, and the rest of the experience may be other activities such as record keeping, research, case management, supervision, professional development, etc. So that tells you when you're looking for employment, you want to really clarify how many direct service hours, you want to clarify the extent to which you'll be providing direct services to clients. You want to make sure that they should know, but you want to know, that you're going to have, that a bulk of your work will be providing direct services. It doesn't have to be all, but a bulk of it does, okay? Supervision should be 1 hour a week or 2 hours every other week. Again, when you look for employment, you want to ask your employer, how do they structure supervision? And let me just ask you this. Why do you think it's important for you to ask your employer, how do they structure supervision? That's a question. I'm not just doing all the talking here. I'm asking you a question. I'm gonna stop and share. Stop to share. Why do you think it's important to ask your supervisor how they structure supervision?
Because you need it for the hours and you're entering an employment agreement.
You need it for the hours, but something that's true. And you want to make sure there's a value for supervision. You don't want to set yourself up, and listen, don't ever believe the hype. Sometimes counselors hear this. You're really good at what you do. You don't need as much supervision. Don't believe the hype. You need supervision. Okay? I'm just saying. All right, let me go back. To make sure we get all the hours, you guys are a mess. Let me just share the screen again. You want to get your hours. I ain't mad at you though. Okay. The supervisor must be licensed and registered in New York State to practice as a mental health counselor. Mental health counselor, they could be a doctor, practice in medicine as a physician assistant. They could be a licensed psychologist, a licensed clinical social worker, a registered professional nurse competent in practice of mental health counseling, a nurse practitioner competent in practice of mental health counseling. So bottom line, you want to make sure that your supervisor is licensed and registered in New York State, okay? Any questions before I go on? And then here are acceptable settings for accumulation of hours. Here are the location where legally authorized individuals provide services, consulting practice, and mental health counseling. It can be a professional corporation, a registered LLP, professional service LLC, a sole proprietorship owned by a licensee who provides services within scope of mental health counseling and his or her competence, professional partnership owned by a licensee who provides services within scope of mental health counseling. It could be a hospital, a clinic authorized under Article 28. It could be a program facility authorized under mental health hygiene law, a program facility authorized under federal law, an entity defined as exempt from licensing requirements. It cannot be a private practice owned and operated by you, by the applicant. All of this information, by the way, is taken from the Office of the Professions, and we're going to go to that website where I'm going to show you where some of this information was extracted from, so you can go back and read it, because there may be some additional information on the website that's not here. Okay? Any questions before I move on? So when you are close to graduation, and say for those who are graduating next, do we have anyone graduating this semester?
Yes.
Abigail, okay. So let's see. So your last day of class is like December, like 13th, 14th or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So around, I would say maybe early December, late November, you can and this depends upon your money, by the way. We're going to talk about this a little further on, but that's when you might initiate your application online, Form 1. We're going to go over this in a minute. That's $371. But the deal is this: the other form that you will want to submit close to graduation is the Form 2 that verifies your educational experience. The Form 1, which initiates the license, your application process, is online, done online, and is $371. And then the limited permit, right? That's Form 5. It used to be a hard copy that you could access, but I noticed when I went on the website today that you initiate Form 5 online. I don't know whether it leads to a hard copy document, because ultimately your supervisor has to sign Form 5. But what I'm saying is that, let me just see something, someone's joining. What I'm saying is that, let me admit somebody, that Form 5 is also initiated online. So this is the limited permit. You must meet education requirements to get your limited permit. You just need to complete your master's degree, right? You don't have to have taken the exam, and the work experience.
What I need to do when I graduate.
Okay. Can you mute yourself for now, and I'll answer your question. So to get your limited permit, basically you have to find an organization that is presenting you with an offer, and that's how that limited permit is initiated. And you have to go online to initiate the process, right? You have to be under supervision, to get your limited permit under a licensed professional. Note that no supervisor can hold more than 5 supervisees at a time. So another point that you want to explore when you're interviewing is, how many supervisees is my supervisor managing, right? Because really they should not be supervising more than 5 at a time. The limited permit is good for 24 months, 2 years. you can get an extension. 2 additional 12-month periods are possible if there's a good faith effort made to complete the requirements, but maybe you haven't passed the licensing exam or fulfilled your experience requirements. So it might be a situation where maybe you got a job, for some reason you had to quit that job, or you left because it wasn't working, and you need more time to accumulate the 3,000 hours so you can get the extension on your limited permit. They allow for 2 years. Okay? Any questions before I move on? So here are the steps, sort of outlined, right? First, you find a site which fulfills state requirements for experience, right? The 3,000 supervised hours. You apply for licensure online. Now, mind you, you might apply for licensure online, which is Form 1 and is $371, before you actually start looking for a site, or you might wait until you have a site to start that process of opening up your online application. Most choose to start that process before they find a site, so that the process is in the works and your file has been initiated, so that when you do find a site, you're good to go, right? But a lot depends upon your money. With the limited permit, you're going to apply for your limited permit, which is $70, and that is Form 5. And as I mentioned, it's initiated online. We're looking for Form 5. Some students apply for licensure and the limited permit at the same time. Okay. Again, you need to get that form approved before anything can happen, but you would have paid the fee. Okay. Then you're studying for the licensing exam. When you graduate, right before you graduate from Hunter College, you're going to submit your Form 2, which we'll review after this. Form 2 is the form that verifies your educational experience. Let me just see if somebody else is trying to get in. Yeah. Form 2 is what verifies your educational experience. What you're going to do, okay, so my light just shut off. What you're going to do, you have let me back up. You should have a link which you will use to upload your Form 2. If you do not have that link, it's in the advisement overview document that most of you received when you first came into the program. But if you need this link, please email me. You will upload your Form 2 to a link which will direct your Form 2 to the Office of Academic and Student Affairs, the office that I work in. OASA really completes that Form 2 and forwards the form. This is a new process. OASA forwards the form to the registrar for approval, and the registrar sends the form directly to the state. Now, I want to tell you something that I picked up when I looked at Dr. Feetz's presentation, and this is something I'm following up with for Abigail and whoever else is graduating this semester. Please hear me, because this is something kind of really important, and I want to follow up on this. According to Dr. Feetz's notes, let me just get to it because I want to. Okay. According to Dr. Feetz's notes, we don't have to wait until your degree is officially conferred before that Form 2 is sent to the state. Now that's new to me because it takes a minute. It takes some time for your degree to be officially conferred. I'm going to follow up on this next week, and Abigail and whoever else is graduating the semester, please circle back to me, because if we don't have to wait until your degree is conferred, then once you graduate and once we have proof that you have completed all of the requirements to graduation, what I'm understanding is that we can send, the registrar can send that Form 2 to the state, but I have to double check that. But I want you to circle back to me just to confirm. And for anyone who's graduating in the spring, again, well, I will know, this semester how that rolls. And the reason I'm making this a point is because I don't want to hold up anyone's ability to secure employment because you can't get your Form 2 approved and sent to the state in a timely fashion, okay? So please, Abigail and whoever else is graduating this semester, check back with me in a couple of weeks to see if there is any confirmation on whether your Form 2 can be sent to the state before your degree is officially conferred. All right. After 1,500 hours of supervised experience, so you can take the exam at any point, right? You can take the exam after 1,500 hours of supervised experience, which is what some people do because the exam is sort of based on your experience. It's experiential. So some people will wait until they complete 1,500 hours. But you can take it at any point after your education has been verified. And it's the National Clinical Mental Health Counselor Examination, NCMHCE. Do not take the National Counselor Examination, the NCE. It will not count. So we're making it very clear which examination you need to take. And then the last steps, right, is the completing the remaining forms after completing 3,000 hours, your work experience, and that's Form 4 to be completed by you, the applicant, and Form 4B, which is completed by the applicant's supervisor. And if you have one supervisor, you have to have one form completed by each supervisor. Know that these forms are on the website for the New York State Education Department, Office of the Profession. All of these forms are accessible, okay? Any questions before I move on? All right, let me get a drink. This is some water. Second.
Quick question, Ms. Lyons. Just to confirm, you said that we don't have to necessarily take the licensing exam after we graduate. We could take it, while we're accumulating that 3,000 hours. I just want to confirm you said that.
Yes.
Okay.
Some people take it sooner. They think because maybe some of the information from the program is fresh in your head. We're going to go over that in a little bit, but often people wait a little bit before they take it because they want to get the hands-on experience in the field and find that prepares them to take the exam. Okay, but we're going to speak more about the exam in a minute. Any other questions before I move on? So again, there are two different types of tests. The NCE, National Council Examination, is offered in other states such as New Jersey, but you all, for the most part, taking this test in New York, you're going to take the National Clinical Mental Health Counseling Examination. For New York State, it can be taken at any time after your education has been approved. You may decide to take the exam after you receive approval from the Office of the Professions while your diagnosis education is fresh in your mind. Since the exam is experiential in nature and tests your diagnostic abilities, some counselors take the exam after they have accrued at least 2,000. Earlier slides said 1,005, so you can take it after 1,500 hours or 2,000 hours of clinical experience. You can take the exam as many times as you like. There's a fee. So I guess they're like, look, if you can take it as many times as you like and pay that money, but there are no limits as to how many times you can take the exam. And of course, there are, I believe I include this in this presentation, prep courses that you can take, which I would recommend for the exam. Any questions before I move on? Of course, I always forget my little arrow. Okay, so the exam is offered twice per year in April and October. There's a $275 exam fee. You receive an unofficial score report immediately after the exam. Scores are sent to State Testing Board automatically 4 weeks after the last day of testing week. You must allow 4 weeks processing time after the fee clears. And if you fail the exam, you must re-register, pay another $275, and wait at least 3 months from test date before you can retest. You have to wait a while before you can retest. Okay. And here is the information regarding the examination, which includes the examination format, select bibliography, and availability of study materials for purchase. So I included that information here. And I also know that the New York Mental Health Counseling Association, Metro Chapter, which is an organization I recommend that you look into, also, they also provide LMHC exam prep, right? So you want to make sure you get that preparation before you take the exam. I know I would. And then I'm just going to show this slide and then I'm going to go into the form. So I wanted to just let you know about this. For those who are interested and able, you know, this group of RASA that you've heard about before, it's a group of professionals who work in the field of addiction. They're having a Zoom mixer on December 3rd at 6 p.m. They're inviting students from other programs like Hofstra and I believe NYU. So school colors or ugly sweater, fun games, gifts, and prizes. So again, you're going to get this PowerPoint. So if you're interested in attending, it's a good opportunity to network. You can register for that. I wanted to make sure I shared that with you. So I'm going to stop share for a minute. That picture of you, Johnson, I think that's a setup to make it look like you're in class when you're not, but okay.
I'm glad it's working.
It's working. You got me a little bit, but not quite. But I've heard about this thing about pictures that if you look quickly at it, you don't know the person is. That's funny.
I tried putting up a GIF to see if I could get the picture to blink.
Oh, I knew that this was deliberate. I knew it was. It's good though. It really is. You look attentive. All right. Before I show you briefly some of the forms, because I wanted you to know, just have access to some of these. Actually, I think I emailed these forms to you. The LMHC checklist, and if I emailed you the Form 5, know that now you're initiating it online. So I don't know whether ultimately that is the form that your on-site supervisor will sign off on or not. So I would, when you're getting ready to do your limited permit, initiate the process online and you'll see whether ultimately you're led to the form that I sent you. And then of course, Form 2, which is the form that verifies your educational experience, is the form you want to upload to the link that I believe I also put in that email, where your Form 2 is sent to the Office of Academic and Student Affairs and then forwarded to the registrar. And I don't know if I gave you the email address to the registrar because they're the people you need to follow up with. I might put that in this in the PowerPoint. When I send you the PowerPoint, I will give you the email address to the registrar so that you can follow up with them to determine if they sent your form to the state. Those are the folks you need to follow up with, okay? I don't know if you want me to go over the forms. I don't have to, because I think most of the content that I reviewed is, we did, and it's on the website. Do you want me to do that or no? You're so funny. All right, I'm gonna just, since I get blank still. I used to teach. I was an adjunct in this program, and I would constantly say to students, "You ain't watching TV up in this piece." I'm expecting some, and I'd roll up on you. I'd walk right up to you and be like, "Hello." All right. So anyway, I can take a minute and go over it, since I'm glad you like that. At least you gave me some emoji of some kind. Thank you very much for that. All right, so I will do that. It's not going to take that long to go over that, so we'll do that. Any questions before I look for those forms to review? Okay, thank you for shaking your head, Marie. All right, let me just see if I can find them. Oh, let's see. Should be able to see this. Okay, so first I'm going to just show you what the website. I don't know if anyone has looked at it. Let's see. Oh, here it is. I think this is it. This is what the website actually looks like, right? So what you'll see is some of what I pulled off of some of what I put into the PowerPoint presentation. The requirements of the general requirements. Form 1, if you see where this, where I'm pointing here, that's where you initiate the online, you initiate the, your application starts with Form 1, doing it online, so you can access it right here. You see the fee, $371. You see the fee for the limited permit is $70 here. Here you'll see the educational requirements, and made mention of this Hunter College being licensure qualifying, so that check on that. Let's see. Let me just see something. If I can do it. Okay, so here I'm just going to pull up Form 2 from this site. But let me see if there's anything else I wanted to pull up from here, just in case. Well, while I'm on this page, I'll just show you the experience requirements that I referred to are here. So you can take a look at that if you want to go into more detail. The supervision of experience. So this is just to let you know that everything that we reviewed, I pulled from this website. The examination requirements, the contact information for the exam is here, as you can see. Okay, so just know that this information is available to you at any point and you can access it. So what I'm going to do from here is go to Form 2, because that's the form that you're going to upload to send to the Office of Academic and Student Affairs, and then we'll complete part of it and send it to the registrar. Let's see. Okay, so here's Form 2. Okay. Oh, the application checklist. You can access the application checklist here as well. And that just walks you through the whole process that we went through so that you can be clear on each step you need to take. I emailed this document to you, so you'll have that. So I'm just going to pull up Form 2, which is the certification of professional education. Right? So this is the form, which you will complete Section 1, the applicant information. You will complete your mailing address, name as it appears on your degree, diploma, certificate, your name, the name of the institution. You don't have to worry about the address, your degree, MSCD, and you can just put, for instance, Abigail, for if you're graduating, because you mentioned graduating this semester, you can just put December 2021. Okay, and then you're going to sign it. Okay, what we will do, so let me say this. The registrar is completes this Part A section, right? The registrar completes that. And you remember I mentioned to you that you direct this form to the Office of Academic and Student Affairs. My colleague in this department actually completes this section where she identifies the courses that are related to the content areas in the left-hand column box. So once Jen completes this section, she sends this entire form to the registrar, and the registrar sends this form to the state. Okay, so that's this form. That's Form 2. So I'm not going to really go over anything else because, as I mentioned, the checklist, which I sent you, just walks you through everything that we talked about in the PowerPoint. So you know that your steps are Form 1 to initiate your application for licensure, $371. Form 2 is to verify your education, and you have the link to upload that to the Office of Academic and Student Affairs, and then we send it to the registrar. Form 5, which is your limited permit, $70, which you will initiate online, and then you'll let me know if you feel like it. If that leads to the form that I sent you when I sent out the email about this workshop, I would think that it would have to lead to a hard copy because your supervisor has to sign it, right? You have the information about the exam, and you know that you have to accrue 3,000 hours, and there's a form to complete as you accrue your hours and complete your hours. There's a form that you complete to send it to the state, and your supervisor has to sign off on a form as well. And all of this is in the presentation. I thought I did a good job. I don't know about you.